Good evening. I'm going to continue with the notes from today, January 29, 2018. This is for PreCal. Today we did one example on using the half-angle identity to find a value. We only did one. I want to do a couple more with you to make sure you understand this. They are not hard. Let's get you the math, part of the math, and we'll work on that. Alright, in your directions, well, I'm on page 18 in your notebook, page 18. We did this example today, number 3. I'm doing number 4 and 5 with you now as more examples, okay? Number 4 and 5. So what number 4 right here? Tangent 22.5. Okay. Now guys, remember, your half angles formulas right here, plus or minus, plus minus, plus. You determine that by determining what quadrant it is to begin with, right? 22.5 is in quadrant 1. Okay, so this is in quadrant 1, so it will be positive. It will be positive at the end. Alright? So really, the first thing we do is we take this and we multiply it by 2. Multiply it by 2. So that is what I'm plugging in to my formula. My formula is tangent pi over 2 equals plus or minus 1 minus cosine theta over 1 plus cosine theta. So I multiply it by 2. I'm going to put that in place of the theta. Tangent 45 over 2 equals. Now that is what I'm plugging in for this theta. What value I got when I multiply this by 2? So here we go. It's going to be a positive 1, so it's going to be a positive 1 minus the cosine of 45 over 1 plus the cosine of 45 equals 1 minus the square root of 2 over 2 and 1 plus the square root of 2 over 2. This is where you're getting confused, is the math here. These are fractions. We're adding and subtracting fractions, so we need to find a common denominator. A common denominator. Alright. So I'm going to come down here for a moment and show you how to do this here. This is basic math. 1 minus square root of 2 over 2. Your common denominator is 2. So if I multiply this by 2, I multiply that, the numerator, and I get that. 2 minus square root of 2 over 2. I'm just doing this down here to show you how I'm getting this. So this ends up 2 minus square root of 2 over 2. Now I'm going to put that in place of the numerator. Now, 1 plus square root of 2 over 2. If you need to come down here and do the math, and do the math. Common denominator is 2. Multiply the denominator by 2, and then multiply the numerator. So I get 2 plus square root of 2 over 2. And see, that is just scaring you right there. If you come down here and do one thing at a time, it's not really bad. Now, I'm going to rewrite this, because that's a lot going on right there. There's a lot going on right there. So 2 minus square root of 2 over 2 divided by 2 plus square root of 2 over 2. Well, when you divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. 2 minus square root of 2 over 2 times 2 over 2 plus square root of 2. Well, these 2's cancel out. You're left with 2 minus square root of 2 over 2 plus square root of 2. That's what goes in this. Now, yes, normally, guys, I do not like a radical left in the denominator. But since this is under square root, it gets real complicated. So that's the only time that you can leave a radical in the denominator when it's under a square root. I'll just leave it out there because it gets very complicated. We would never rationalize under a radical. You need to pause right now to look at this work. Go back and look at my math. Right, 1 minus square root of 2 over 2. I did the math right here. 1 plus square root of 2 over 2. I did the math right here. Put both of these into my problem. Then I came down here and did the division, and that is how I got that. Number 5. We got the cosine. First of all, I'm going to multiply this by 2. When you say pi over 8 times 2, you get pi over 4. So what is your cosine formula? Half angle formula. Now, before we start, pi over 8. What quadrant would pi over 8 be in? It's 1 pi over 8. I hope you take 1, so this will be positive. So I'm going to be using the positive square root of 1 plus cosine theta over 2. I'm going to put my pi over 4 in for my theta. All over 2 equals 1 plus square root of 2 over 2 over 2. I'm going to come down here and do my math. Common denominator of 2. 1 times 2, so let's be that. I'm going to put this in place of that. So I got that divided by 2. So let's watch what that does. 2 plus square root of 2 over 2 divided by 2. Don't you have to flip that? That will be 2 plus square root of 2 over 2 times 1/2. Well, 1 times that gives me 2 plus square root of 2 all over 2 times 2 is 4. Some of you have got to come down and do the math. Got to come down here and do your math. This first part from here to here was just adding 1 plus square root of 2 over 2. Now, dividing this out, I'm literally dividing it. Now, I'm ready to take the square root. Well, I know the square root of 4. That's 2. So I just leave it 2 plus square root of 2 there. Just leave the numerator with the radical. So that is my answer right there. Alright, that was number 4 and 5. I want to look at number 6. Let's read the instructions to number 6. It says, write each expression as the sine, cosine, tangent of a double angle. So that's telling you what formulas to use. Then find the exact value of the expression. For example, we'll do some more, but let's look at number 6 and 7. 2 sine 22.5 times cosine 22.5. Got to think, which formula does that look like? Well, that looks like the sine formula, double angle. So I'm going to put, since this is sine equal to that, I'm going to put sine down. And what do we want to do double that? When I double 22.5, that's 45. You should know the sine of 45, that's square root of 2 over 2. These are some more easy ones. 1 minus 2 sine squared pi over 12. 1 minus 2 sine. Well, that looks like a cosine double angle. So I'm going to put cosine down. Double this. Pi over 12 plus pi over 12 is 2 pi over 12, which reduces to pi over 6. Cosine of pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2. Okay? Alright, now I'm going to work on your homework some. Turn to page 20. Let's look at page 20. Page 20 says, find the values of sine 2 theta, cosine 2 theta, and tangent theta. And we're looking at number 53. So those are the double angle formulas we're going to be working with. So let's look at number 53. Cosine of theta equals 2/5. 3 pi over 2 is less than theta, less than 2 pi. What quadrant are we working in? 3 pi over 2 pi, that is quad 4. Alright, let's go over here. Remember, these problems, you need to know your x, you need to know your y, you need to know your r. Also, you need to know your other two trig. I know cosine, so I'm looking for sine theta and tangent theta. Now, in quad 4, your x is positive. I don't need to put negative there. Your y is negative and your r is always positive. Remember, cosine is equal to x over r, sine is y over r, and tangent is y divided by x. So cosine is x over r. We need to find y. I'm going to use the formula x squared plus y squared equals r squared. 2 squared plus y squared equals 5 squared. 4 plus y squared equals 25. Y squared equals 21. Y equals the square root of 21. And this will be negative square root of 21. Alright, now let's determine our sine. Our sine is negative square root of 21 over your r value. Our tangent is y divided by x. I do not have any radicals in the denominator, so I do not need to rationalize. Now, I'm ready to find sine 2 theta, cosine 2 theta, and tangent 2 theta. So let's go with sine 2 theta first. That is equal to 2 sine theta cosine theta. 2 times negative square root of 21 over 5 times negative square root of 21 over 2. Now, negative times a negative is going to give you a positive, times a positive is a positive. So square root of 21 times square root of 21 is 21. 21 times 2 is 42. Oh, no, that's right. Oh, let's stretch them past up. What is cosine theta equal to? It's equal to 2/5. So this should be, 2/5. Sorry about that. Sine theta is negative square root of 21 over 5. And then tangent is negative square root of 21 over 2. So my sine value is negative square root of 21 over 5. My cosine value is 2/5. I'm sorry if I'm confused you there. Now let's remultiply that. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, square root of 21. 5 times 5 is 25. Now I'm going to find cosine of 2 theta. I always use the first one. Cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta. That equals 2/5 squared minus negative square root of 21 over 5 squared. 2/5 squared is 4 over 25 minus that negative squared becomes a positive 21 over 25. That comes out to be 4 minus 21 is negative 17 over 25. Alright, let's do tangent of 2 theta. That's 2 times tangent of theta over 1 minus tangent squared theta. 2 times tangent theta is negative square root of 21 over 2. 1 minus negative square root of 21 over 2 squared. Remember, this 2 is over 1. These 2's cancel out. I'm left with negative square root of 21. 1 minus, that's going to give me a 21 over 4. Because the square root cancels out, leaving 21, and 2 squared and the denominator is 4. That gives me negative square root of 21, and then that's going to be negative 17 over 4. Now let's rewrite that so we know what's going on. Negative square root of 21 divided by negative 17 over 4. Flip the fraction. So that gives me negative times a negative is a positive 4 square root of 21 over 17. Right there. Alright, let's look at number 54. If you need to pause and rewind it, you may at this time, but let's go on to number 54. Tangent of theta equals negative square root of 3. Interval pi over 2 to theta to pi. We're going to put x or y or r or other two, sine of theta, and cosine of theta. From pi over 2 to pi, that means we're working in quadrant 2. We're working in quad 2. In quad 2, your x is negative, your y is positive, your r is always positive. Alright, your tangent is defined as y divided by x. So that means this is over 1. Square root of 3 is positive, your x is negative 1, because remember x is negative. Now I'm going to find my r. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. Negative 1 squared plus square root of 3 squared equals r squared. That gives me 1 plus 3 equals r squared. 4 equals r squared. 2 equals r. Remember, sine is y over r, square root of 3 over 2. Cosine is negative 1 over 2, x over r. Now I have enough information, I'm ready to find my double angle, sine 2 theta, cosine 2 theta, and tangent 2 theta. Sine of 2 theta equals 2 times sine theta, cosine theta. Sine theta is square root of 3 over 2, cosine is negative 1/2. That gives you negative 2 square root of 3 over 4. Cosine 2 theta equals cosine squared theta minus sine square root theta. Negative 1/2 squared minus square root of 3 over 2 squared. That gives me 1 over 4 minus 3 over 4, which gives me negative 2/4, which reduces to negative 1/2. Now let's look at tangent of 2 theta. That is 2 tangent theta over 1 minus tangent squared theta. 2 times the tangent, which is negative square root of 3, over 1 minus the negative square root of 3 squared. That gives me negative 2 square root of 3. 1 minus, that's going to give me just a 3, positive, because negative squared is positive, square roots cancel out. So I'm left with negative 2 square root of 3. Negative 2 square root of 3 over negative 2. These cancel out. I'm left with square root of 3. So on number 55 and 56, it should say use half angle. Sorry about that. Let's look at 55. I'm going to look at 55 and let you try 56 on your own now. But let's look at 55. We're going to use the half angle. Cosine of pi over 12. I'm going to multiply that by 2. That gives me 2 pi over 12, which is pi over 6. So I'm going to use the cosine formula right here. Okay, pi over 12, that would be in quadrant 1, so it's be positive. So cosine of theta over 2 equals a positive 1 plus cosine theta over 2. I got that from right here. I need to use cosine because it was cosine. Okay. 1 plus the cosine of pi over 6 over 2 equals 1 plus cosine of pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2 all over 2. I'm going to come to the side and do the math here so you can understand. I need to find a common denominator. Common denominator is 2. That would equal 2 plus square root of 3 over 2. That's going to go in place of the numerator. Now I'm going to come to the side and write what that really means. This divided by that. That's 2 plus square root of 3 over 2 divided by 2. We'll leave the first one alone, change that division to multiplication, and flip. That gives me 2 plus square root of 3, because that times 1 is that, over 4, so I'm going to put that in place. You can't take the square root of the top, so I'm going to leave it 2 plus the square root of 3, but you can take the square root of 4, which is 2, and that is my answer. That is number 55. And 56, you're going to use the half angle again, multiply that by 2. $135, and go from there. Alright. I'm not reworking on these 3 tomorrow, but I will work 56 in class. Hope this helps. See you tomorrow.